cruise news time, and there's some crazy situations going on out there. We have passengers injured on disembarkation day, and did you know there's a scenario where a 19-year-old cruiser cannot cruise, but an 18-year-old cruiser can? It kind of blew my mind. Cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Lido, Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views. It's for your face. For your face. Look, I made a promise to myself and to you that when I go on cruise ships, I wouldn't rub it in your face. So I thought what I would do is I would just film in some nondescript location that would give no indication that I was just floating along on the Caribbean Sea, enjoying my cruise vacation while you're up there in Wisconsin with like 4 or 5 feet of snow. So I've chosen to okay, this may have been a bad choice. This is the beautiful Skywalker's Lounge on the Caribbean Princess, deck 18 on the aft of the ship. You can see the wake of the ship. I guess I'm sorry. I'm sorry for rubbing it in your face. It's not my intention, but I just wanted to come here. I've taken a few days off. Hope you guys have been doing good, but I thought I would come in because there's some poppin' cruise news that I want to tell you about. And first, we got to start about this crazy story that happened in Galveston, Texas, when we had 4 cruise passengers injured when they were run over by a vehicle. That's right, a party of 6 got off the Carnival Dream there in Galveston. They were making their way back to their transportation when all of a sudden a car runs them over. What happened is somebody had gotten into their vehicle and they were probably checking their mirrors, whatever you do when you get in your vehicle, and well, instead of putting their car into drive, they put their car into reverse. They drove through a fence and right into these people. Now, I think many of us have had that scenario where we've not had the car in the gear that we thought the car was in, but I think very few of us have had a scenario where we ran through a fence and kept driving. I'm sure the panic set in or whatever. The police there in Texas are investigating. Hopefully it's just a simple circumstance of somebody, having an accident, having their car in the wrong gear, nothing nefarious. But 2 of the passengers had to go to a local hospital, but certainly not the way that you want to end your cruise. Most of us are just depressed that we have to get off the cruise. Well, now we've got to worry about getting run over. No, I don't think most of us are going to get run over, but still, what a way to end a cruise. What's the worst scenario you've ever had when you got off? The last time I cruised out of Galveston, it was during Bike Week, and that was the longest disembarkation I've ever experienced. It took us like 4.5 or 5 hours to get out of that terminal in Galveston. It was crazy. We're going back next month. Hopefully it's better. But yeah, any weird disembarkation stories, leave a comment below. Now, certainly that's not an exciting Carnival cruise news story. Carnival had nothing to do with these folks getting run over, but there is exciting news out there for Carnival Cruise Line because they have taken ownership. And it hit me when I was reading the story. They've taken ownership of the Carnival Jubilee. They had the handover ceremony at the shipyard, and now the Jubilee is owned by Carnival Cruise Line. It's a part of the fleet. It will be making its way to Galveston, Texas to cruise on December the 23rd. But it's a great story. Woohoo! It's a great story, but it's a sad story because this is essentially the last new Carnival cruise ship in the foreseeable future. They don't have any other cruise ships planned to build. Carnival Cruise Line specifically. The Carnival Corporation, they've got more cruise ships to build, but Carnival Cruise Line, no more new cruise ships. So this it's an exclamation point and a question mark all at the same time. What will be the next new Carnival cruise ship? But for right now, we celebrate the Jubilee in the Carnival fleet, making her way to Galveston, Texas. I've said this a few times. I'm going to be on that ship on the 20th of January. Can't wait to sail on her. Anybody out there going on the inaugural? Leave a comment below. I do want to make a quick shout out here to my friend Stephanie. She lives up in the Portland, Oregon area. She sent me these great photos of the Carnival Panorama making her way to dry dock. Normally a ship making its way to dry dock, no big deal, but we've talked about this before. Panorama had to alter itself to be able to get under the bridges to get to the dry dock, and here's a few shots of the Panorama without her iconic whale tail. Pretty wild and cool at the same time that they can reduce the height of that ship by taking off the funnel. And yeah, so Panorama, hopefully they get her fixed. She's integral to the sailings out there on the West Coast for Carnival. I know a lot of folks are waiting to get back on her. And yeah, hopefully she'll be out of dry dock soon and be fully intact with her whale tail after she gets out of Portland. Cruise news story number 4, an exciting one for West Coast Florida cruisers. Margaritaville at sea, the rumors are true. They have purchased a second cruise ship, and they're going to be home porting that second cruise ship in Tampa, Florida. Now, as someone who lives 45 minutes from Tampa, this is exciting news. We're talking about cruises, 4- and 5-day cruises in the $200 to $300 range. And if you're familiar with Margaritaville at sea, their strategy is to purchase slightly loved cruise ships. Maybe cruise ships are like 20 years old. Recently purchased the 2,650 passenger Costa Cruises Atlantica to transform her into the latest Margaritaville at sea cruise ship. And of course, Atlantica, not the greatest name for a Margaritaville at sea cruise ship, so they've given her a new name, Margaritaville at sea Islander, coming to Tampa in 2024. Going to be completely renovated, all 1,100 cabins, and they're going to put that Margaritaville style on it. Some of the renderings that are out already, fantastic. Look, I'm going to try to get on this ship as early as possible. It will be interesting to see how this compares to their short sailings down to Freeport in the Bahamas. This is going to have some itineraries in the Western Caribbean, going to go to Key West, whole different vibe. I tell you what, I do like the company. I've talked about that before. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this brand new cruise ship. Do you have interest in cruising out of Tampa? Leave a comment below. Now, I got to tell you about this wild scenario where 18-year-olds can cruise on a cruise ship, but maybe 19-year-olds cannot cruise on a cruise ship. But before I do that, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Thank you in advance. All right, here's the deal, and something I did not know. 19-year-olds on Carnival Cruise Line are not allowed to cruise solo. So if you're 19 years old and you want to go on a cruise right now on a fun ship, you want to have a good party-hardy weekend, you need a 21-year-old to take you on the cruise ship. It doesn't have to be a parent or a guardian. It could just be some run-of-the-mill 21-year-old that you know. So you can still go with a group of people and have a good time, but you have to be under the supervision of a 21-year-old. But there is a scenario where 18-year-olds can go on a cruise ship. That's if they're married to each other. This is a wild scenario. So if you have two 18-year-olds that get married, they can go on a cruise ship and have a honeymoon. They don't need any adult supervision. But if you're 19 and 20, you cannot go on a cruise ship by yourself. I did not know that. That's fascinating. I've never really delved deeply into these age policies. But what do you think? Are you an aspiring cruiser out there, 19 years old? What is your strategy for getting on the cruise ship without your parents? Leave a comment below. I do want to say this. It's been a great cruise so far. I did have a shock on the first night when I went to the main theater to see the comedian. It turned out to be the same comedian that called me on stage to do improv on the Island Princess back in 2022. I don't know if you've seen that video, but I'm going to leave it linked at the end when the Cruise News show is rolling. Make sure you click that and check out that video if you want to see me make a fool of myself. That was interesting. But look, big thanks for checking out the show today. Hope everybody's having a great week. I'm going to get back to my C-Day. This is Tony for Lido, Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye. Cruise News.